Hello everyone. This is Dr. Deepak Kumar again, and welcome to this second session on C Sharp and C Sharp programming, as well as developing a front-end application, where we had so far discussed different options, related to interface design. We have discussed about database connectivity. We have demonstrated how basically you can authenticate users by implementing access control measures. We have seen how we could uh, manipulate menu system or menu navigation in order to establish access control by disabling or hiding different menu options for different users and making different options available as per the need arises for those users. So with that option, we would further continue to develop new functionality in this application. So one thing we would do now is obviously CRUD operation on your database, which is your create, edit, read, update, and delete operation. We are obviously refraining from deleting anything from the database, but we are doing everything else that is needed for viewing the data, uh, updating the data, inserting new records into the database, and so forth. So for that process, we will be creating a new form. We're going to call it as manage staff form. So this is a manage staff form. Just to save some time, I would also try and copy some interface features that we have already used earlier. Um, so this process becomes a little quicker, and because we can focus more on other features as we mentioned. Uh, One thing I emphasized earlier also was that the fact remains that uh, you know we probably have to plan our interface design and our visibility as well as the theme of your application for maintaining the consistency within different forms. So that means that you follow the same kind of consistency all throughout. So for that reason, I'm just probably using same kind of scheme or theme that I have used in the previous forms, kind of help me to maintain same kind of look and feel, as well as I would also try and look at certain features that obviously we can improve on in this process. So for the simplicity, I'll simply just take a few controls that I can simply reuse here. So the main thing is I'm still left with the top level here, which is missing. So as you can see here, this is a form which we will rather refer to it as, we're going to call it as view slash update slash add staff members, right? So essentially that's why we call it as manage staff. So we're going to do a few of these things. uh, it's good to always to have some instructions also whenever you are doing a particular form design. So it's always good to have some text that you can basically use in order to guide the user for the sake of you know they know how to use the system, they know how to use the interface properly. So that is basically the intention of having uh, you know uh, some sort of text or some kind of dialogue on the system. So that would always help us in order to uh, make a proper communication with the user. So for the sake of that, I might just copy some other labels or some instructions like I got here, uh, and the rest I would try and use some kind of interface features that I would rather use. So I don't need this one. Let me just delete this one. But I'm going to keep other things, like obviously some instructions over here. This instruction communicates what exactly this form is basically meant for and the purpose of this form that we need to have here. So that is why we would be using it. So here, essentially, this label here basically would be displaying the first name of the staff member, and then I will be using uh, Control C, Control V to save some time to display other things, other label, other information. So as you can see, we will be changing this label here, and then we also had another one which was known as the role of the user. So the reason for copy paste is to just to save time. Otherwise, you can simply add your own labels. And then we also have a password field. So my staff table has these attributes: user ID, or you can call it as staff ID, specifically staff ID. And then we have other things, of course. We have first name, last name, role, and the password field right over here. So we just want to perform a simple, view, update, and add staff operation using this form. So obviously here also we can change our buttons accordingly. We're going to call one add staff. After that, probably we'll have you can use some icons also in the buttons itself. We do have this button where we can even say save changes, or we can actually use image also for that purpose. So we would be using this image here for the sake of obviously I need to add this image um, by clicking on obviously the image is not present in this, so I need to look at the image wherever I have this. If I have it as a resource, this image is going to be this image over here. So now this image will save our records, because Essentially, our adding stuff would be, as you would now understand when we start the coding, will be a bit of a two-step process. So add stuff because I will explain to you why we need this. We need an add staff button, and we also need a, like a save button, or you can obviously have a button, or you can have a, like a icon, like we are having it here as a picture to save this thing. And that is why you need the information, because the user would not be aware what sequence they must follow. Now here it says clearly add new staff, click on add new staff button, and then click on save changes button. Or here this can now be updated, of course, to say and then click save. uh, you can simply call it as the save icon. So let's call it as save icon. So save icon, everybody knows this is a save icon, and that pictorial representation is good enough to tell us. To update the staff details, navigate to the record. You have to go to the record that you are going to update, and then obviously make the changes, and then click on update button. So we need the update button as well. So we would need an update button here. So now we got an interface that we need. Of course, uh, we can improve on this further, that we can lock it for editing unless we have a toggle, like you can use a radio button, or you can use something else to toggle between enabling updation, or like make it read only. So that can also be done. We'll implement that functionality probably in the upcoming form. So here we are just keeping it simple. This is what we have. The next thing that we need, of course, is a binding source. So we will be putting up a binding source. As you can see, we're going to have uh, a binding source over here, and we will be binding this to our database. Make sure you have connected your global connect VPN for accessing the database. So we select the data set. Here in this case, we're going to select the data member. So we have configured our binding source. We have got our data set here as an object in the context tray. We have got a staff table adapter in this context tree. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to bind this to our controls. So we will use the data binding in the property over here. So we're going to go to the advanced tab and bind this to uh, our field. In this case is going to be staff ID. The next one, of course, we are binding it to staff F name. Next one we are binding to staff surname. And the next one we will be binding it to role. And the next one we will be binding it to the password field. You can see there are also formatting options available to you. If it is a currency field or it is a numeric field, you can actually specify the format of the data that you are representing. Different other formats are supported. I would suggest you, and I think I will demonstrate that in probably in the next few other examples. Uh, But I think I did suggest to you that you keep your formatting a bit independent of the regional settings, which is always a good idea. So we'll talk about that as well. So we're going to keep it simple right now, and then just try and display this thing. One thing we need, of course, is that we need our we need some buttons for the sake of navigating between the records. So we need a button here to say next. Okay, you need to go to the text property there for this button. This will become next record, next report. So just using a few visual this thing as well, and then similarly we're going to have another record to say previous record. So that is what we have here. You would see that once I just double click on this form and go to the the form load property, then I can see that. So you can obviously see here previous record and next record. Maybe you would like to uh, uh, put them in this sequence. So you have a previous and the next right over here. Okay, first thing you're going to see is that if you double click on the form, it will take you to load event procedure. So this is the form name dot underscore load event procedure that is created automatically for you. And you're going to see that once you add your, you add your binding source and you configure your binding source to add a data member to it, automatically your table adapter is created, and that table adapter object obviously is mentioned here to fill the data into this. So this obviously says this dot staff table adapter dot fill method, and the parameter it takes is your data set dot the table name that basically you have mapped this table adapter to, or you have configured your binding source. So it is the staff table, which is obviously fetching the data and providing the data it's getting from the staff table using the data set object, and using the staff table adapter, it is filled into this form. So this is a basic functionality, and this code gets inserted automatically once you have configured your data source. So we will be now obviously configuring our menu to display this data, this form as such, and then we will also configure other buttons that we have added here. So uh, first thing we need to do is this is a main form, parent form, form 1. Here we will be configuring the menu option, uh, manage staff over here. Of course, we can also add the same code to the manager's console that we have created, and then use that for that purpose. So obviously here we will be saying we will be using manage staff. I can call it m1 is equal to new manage staff, and then obviously m1.mdi parent is equal to this form, and then saying so once we have done this coding, we should be able to access this form. The same coding, as I said, we can also use and configure uh, our manager form, which we created earlier. So uh, probably this is the form we have. So manage staff, we created a button here. On click of this button also we can uh, copy paste this code same here. So we've got a additional functionality that we can click this button and obviously you know uh, launch the form as we have designed it right now. So let's start the testing. As you can see, this is our main form. In this form, we obviously log in and yes. So you're going to see that once we log in, we see that these options are active. Uh, One of the options that you obviously had in the menu was process order, which is hidden now because that option we have enabled it for the sales admin person. But this manage staff is one option which is basically available for the manager. So when you click on manage staff, you will obviously see there is some exception that comes up. Let's sort that out. Okay, we have a error here, and the error is that we simply copy pasted the code that we created for the menu. Now, obviously, this code is for the menu because that's the parent MDI form, and for that parent MDI form, MDI parent form, the current instance, this would be the active instance. But now, if we want to use this code in a different form, like here we have it in terms of this, managed staff, which is basically this form here. Now, this is not a MDI form. So if this is not a MDI form, then we have to change this coding and we have to make it, uh, you know, we have to change this. So MDI parent here in this case is going to be form 1, not this form, and form 1 dot active form. So this is going to be the form. So the code changes slightly as I want to show you. This is form 1 dot cs. Now here we just copy pasted the code. Yes. So obviously you're creating an object, that is fine. But for the menu, the code is m1.mdi parent is equal to this. That means the main form, parent form for MDI parent is the active form itself, which is obviously the running instance of this form 1. But here, in this case, if we are launching this form from a button click, as we are doing right here now, in user main form, this is obviously a different form. So in user main form, this is the form I'm talking about, which is obviously a manager's console, and there is a button here. So when we are trying to launch from here, obviously this is a different form. So here we have to specify that the parent form for this is going to be form 1, not this. This means it's not a MDI parent. So that is why we had this error coming up. So once we have resolved this, then we can definitely say m1.show, and that's the difference between these two codes. So if you look at the code here, m1.mdi parent is this in the menu option. This is the menu strip item on click event. Whereas if we want to launch this from the form, which is the user main form here, we just call it user main form, or it can be a different name. But this is the form for the manager's console. So then MDI parent will be specified as form 1, and we have to use active form as the property for this MDI parent, and then we have to say the form object name dot show. So that's the difference between these two code. And let's begin and let's test this. Just to show you that access control works, of course, we did had that. We have created now multiple users, so we just created that if construct there which says invalid username or password. That means that's a better way of showing it. Of course, we haven't programmed clear yet. On the clear, you have to simply clear this these boxes. You can do that. So we didn't have we can do that as well. We can program it. Here, of course, we have entered a wrong password. Just test this. So in this case, just trying to verify if you got the right password or not. So you can see we have a menu option here to navigate to manage staff, and we also have this button here in the manager's console to navigate to manage staff. So in that case, we have been to the manage staff right here. There's one problem that happens with copy paste. This obviously is fine, but this one here obviously is the password field, and this password field carries the password character, password char property set to asterisk. So everything that is why you see here is basically masked as asterisk. So we try to save some time somewhere, but somewhere we may have increased our work as well. So that happens. Uh, all we have to do now, of course, is to uh, fix this. So we obviously would be working to change the property here. So simply we have to go and remove that asterisk from the password char property that we have here. So you can see this property here, password char, is set with the asterisk sign. So we have to remove this. In fact, we have to remove it for all of them. So obviously, since we wanted to use the same color, same font, same color scheme, so that it was the temptation to use in and then copy paste the controls. But sometimes we just have to be aware of what is happening. But that's also not a train smash. Sometimes probably we might still save some time. Uh, and then I think we did have saved some time by copying. And then the other thing is when you are resetting the font and colors, you may forget what exactly is the font size and what color is exactly what we have used earlier. So if you just copy paste one of those labels or controls or buttons, you simply would ensure that you're going to continue with the same scheme. So that's the agenda behind using this. So there won't be any variation between these things. This is color scheme. So that's basically the idea. So now we click on manage staff. You can see the details are coming up here. Of course, password visibility is not again a good thing, but this is just to demonstrate that we are getting the data. This we could have left as masked because the password field should not be visible because that opens things for shoulder surfing. uh, yeah, you can definitely have a masked password field here. And for updation, we can suggest that you can set the password to a default value because setting password for a user is not a good thing, good advice. But anyway, it's a simple demonstration of your CRUD operation, so we'll manage with that. So we are getting the data from the form. We can see we are getting the first name, last name, role, as well as all other details. Now, next thing we will do is, of course, these buttons have not been programmed yet. So we need to program these buttons to show and navigate through various records that we have in the database. So for that purpose, we will use uh, the binding source object again. So here we will be using uh, you know uh, binding source one dot uh, obviously this is a previous button, if I remember correctly. Move previous. So we have used move previous property. The next obviously is our move next button. So next record button will be programmed for moving to the uh, next next. So that's quite simple, and that will give us the functionality of navigating, moving from one record to other record. So as you can see now, we have obviously you know buttons to move between different records. Uh, so this is the last record we have here. So we have a few staffs, and we can of course add new staff members as well. Now for that purpose, we will be programming our add staff and our update staff button as well. So we will be doing that in a just a while now. Now we will be programming our add staff button here. This is the button we have. Now to program this button, what we need is basically we need to move to the last record, and this process actually creates a new data row for us. So what happens here is uh, we need to move to last record, because that is where we will be inserting a new a record for a new staff member that we are adding. So obviously we will be adding a new record right in the end of the file, so to speak, or right in the end of the table records that we have. So we need to move to the last record, and then we need to insert or create a empty row. Create an empty row in the data set in order to uh, add a new member. So for that purpose, we will use binding source dot move last, and then after that we will be saying binding source one dot add new. So that basically is essential for us to create a new row in our data set for a new record. But this is be mindful, this is a two-step process. Why it has to be a two-step process? Of course, because if you put all the code in one button, then obviously you don't get a chance to enter the record into this uh, you know uh, into the new record actually. So you need to still have time to go and type the details of the new staff member here, and after that once you have filled in the details, I will demonstrate what will happen. It will simply throw a null error if you type all the code right here. So maybe to demonstrate that, probably I can show you what happens here. So another thing that we need also, so we need a two-step process, because here when you are simply creating a new row and then it picks up the new set, it contains nothing at all, so it has a null value right over here. So if it has a null value, then obviously it will throw a null pointer exception. So we will just test that now. So here we need to use the property called end edit, because first thing we need to do is we need to tell the tell our database object that we are not editing it, because when you are in a form view, your form is basically in a edit mode by default. So you need to tell that editing is we have ended our editing. So end edit is a method that is to tell the compiler that you know uh, we are done with editing. So there is no editing that is happening. But be mindful here. I'm just doing this to demonstrate, what happens if you don't do that. So simply here, what we are trying to demonstrate is the fact that uh, you know we need to separate this. So there is a chance for the user to enter the data into the form. Otherwise, there won't be any value, or it will pick up the duplicate value and it will insert the duplicate value for you. So you need to have a blank form for a new record, and you need to fill the details into the blank form. So it's a two-stage process. So that is the point which I'm trying to demonstrate here. So simply this means that we are editing of, we are ending the edited of records, although essentially we have done no entry of the new record. So that is to make it clear. The next thing, we obviously are using the staff table adapter dot insert method. So we will be using a start table adapter dot insert method, and we will be inserting the values that we have in text box one. We have different text boxes there with a comma. So insert into, text box, text box 2 dot text property. 3 dot text property. Sorry, we should try and use our basically our IntelliSense menu as much as possible, because that would ensure that you know it's picking the right objects for us. So we have to be a bit careful. Now, right now, we have obviously an error here. We have a wrong comma rather. So it's always important that we use uh, the IntelliSense menu, which sort of prevents many of the errors that we might have in our syntax. So I think that is what we had. So here we have obviously added our insert. Maybe we have to still figure out what is missing here. Insert start name, string password. 6 arguments. Okay, so it's basically we are having a problem. Probably we only have sorry we let me just check. We have duplicate or an extra entry here. So that's why it was showing an overloaded. It was showing a error because it treats a more different set of arguments, and it expects that there should be an overloaded function to have more than one, more than requirement arguments. So the arguments that this insert would take obviously is 5 text boxes. That is what exactly we are having here. Sixth text box would actually result into an overload of the function, and we don't have an overloaded function. So overloaded function, obviously your compiler expects that you are giving more arguments, which means probably you have created a duplicate function with the overloaded. That means it's with the same name but with different set of arguments, which is not the case in our scenario. So now we have this thing here, and obviously this is to demonstrate that we still we have simply used binding source dot end edit because that is necessary to tell the object current state that we have stopped any editing, and then we have inserted. The problem here is we will just see now what the problem is. So let's first do the running of this application, and then we're going to see what happens. So add staff, as we click add staff, of course it takes us to the last record. Yes, the add new is also executed, but when we have this function here, you can see that there is an exception that is being thrown, and the exception basically is thrown first because uh, you know uh, uh, it says column staff id does not allow null values. That means it's trying to insert uh, you know entry from the forms, and there are no new entry in the form. So there is no new record that we have entered in the form because we didn't get a time to do that. So that is why the first error that comes up is basically a null pointer exception, a null a value being inserted into staff id. Staff id is a primary key field, so it will not accept any null value, and that is where the SQL exception is being thrown. So this was to demonstrate that this is the problem that we have if we don't separate this function. So that is why we need to take this code from here and obviously insert it at uh, the click of this icon here. So this is, obviously it's a picture box in which we have this icon, a save icon. So we can rename it, but we haven't. It's picture box one dot click, and we just put the code in here. So that means it will be a two-stage process. Now we will get a time to fill in a new record, and then eventually we will get we will be inserting this new record into a staff table using this staff table adapter. So you can see that the insert command will take the parameters, that it will pick up the value from text box 1, text box 2, 3, 4, and 5, and eventually insert that value into the staff table. So we will just test this. Of course, we can also test it, and we can go to our database to also verify that the operation was successful. Of course, for a better design, we can also have a confirmation, but that confirmation may still just show a message that yes, a value has been inserted, but if there is some error or something, it may not happen. So we have to obviously physically go and check that value if it is in our table. So we'll do that. First we start by logging in. Now of course we are having these records. As you can see, we are having 3 people in our database. We're going to add another one, so we're going to click on add staff, Now, as you can see, we are not getting that error. Although we will still get an error if we don't fill in details, and then we'll again get the same problem that we had. Say, for example, we accidentally click on the save. We are again going to get the same error, and to prevent this error, we have to use try catch. So I'll demonstrate that as well. So just click on this, and again you're going to get the same error which we got earlier, even after we have separated this function. So column staff ID does not allow null value, the same error we are getting here. And what do we need here is basically we need some try catch, uh, to make sure that we don't land up clicking an empty record and try and insert null values into this, as it happened, and I demonstrated that to you. So we will be catching the exception. I'm probably picking some code from another form that is already tried and tested, just to save some time. So catch exception X, uh, and then obviously we have some code here which says uh, catch exception. Object name for the exception is EX. You can put any name there. You can call it anything, and the main important thing is that you always displayed a customized message. Now this exception will display the error message or the exception message that comes up on the screen. Whenever that happens, it will display the error message. But now this exception will be handled, and your program will not crash. It will show a customized, or rather a user-friendly message that no new staff data provided. This is what we want here. So we are saying no new staff data provided. Click add new staff and enter staff details. And then we can further, customize this to say that, this is more friendly error and useful message for us. So we can say click add staff, uh, provide more specific instructions to the user. So add staff details, enter staff details, and uh, click, save icon. I'm just using the word icon here. Um, you can definitely make out click save icon, or maybe you can call it as the save button, or image, or anything you want to call it. So that is what we are trying to communicate to the user, a more friendly message which is guiding the user to do the right thing. So this is what we have. So we got this in a try now, try catch, and obviously we are catching this exception. Uh, and let's try this now. There are some, okay, there is some error. Let's see what that error is. Yeah, probably we are missing with the one curly brace here. Or maybe we have an extra. Oh no, okay, it's fine. So we just have to check, do we have any errors. So it says 0 errors, which means that we should be good to go to run it and execute it. So we have records. We go to add staff. We see there's a new row. Obviously this will be like a blank form available to us. And just what we did last time, we click the save without filling any data into this form. So as we click the save, now rather than program being crashed, we see we are getting a message, no new staff data provided. Click add new staff, enter staff details, and click save icon. So basically the instruction tells us exactly what to do. So let's do that. So filling in staff ID, you can use a input, a mask text box here, to ensure that the staff ID entered is correct. I'm using a three size field here. So you can do that, and I will demonstrate that as well to you. You know how you can use the mask text box uh, to prevent the data in the next demonstration. So simply here we are putting up probably some username, some staff member has been added to it. So we have a new member there. Maybe this person is a supervisor, or let's say sales. Again, sales. This person is also a sales admin. Here you can have a drop down box as well if you have specific roles only created. For the sake of simplicity, I'm simply using, you know, so I can remember the password. But that's not a, maybe this is, you can be used set as a default password, but this is not a good practice. We should force the user to, basically go and change the password afterwards. So the details have been added. We're going to click on, a save button now. So we have added details, and as we click the save button, we are again getting uh, error message. Probably this is coming because we already had an exception that basically ran through. So probably the control has paused this thing. So let's try this again by clicking add new button, and then let's see if it works this time. Now the problem here could be if I don't use like a controlled entry here, like role, and I even enter this as sales administrator, then this will be treated as a different set of user, and my validation probably needs me, or my confirmation for the user needs me a specific user. So that is where you can deviate from the set of users that you have already, and it can cause errors. So it's better to control this input. So that is why it is better to use a drop down box here to select the role of the users, because you would obviously have specific type of roles only in the system. Like you're going to have five different user roles, or you're going to have five different type of profiles of people that you are having it there. So let's I think we are stuck with that. We would simply try and close it, and then try and rerun it, and then try and enter the values. This happened because of the uh, probably the exception that happened there. So let's start this again. Just want to make sure that we have uh, the right type of code here. Yes, we do have this here. I just want to enter a confirmation message to tell us that user has been added. So we have a message confirmation now to tell us that we have added a new staff. So we're going to click on add staff, enter the details. click on save button. Now here we have some problem. No new stock is destroyed. There is some exception which is being thrown. Uh, let's try and sort that out. What exactly we have here? In fact, what has happened here is, although we had an exception, error that came up, but the insert did happen. And if we go and check in our database, uh, if we go and check our database by opening our SQL Server Management Studio and check the table, we're going to see that this record has already been inserted. And now, since we are trying to, duplicate that record, and that is why we are getting this error. So what we will do, of course, is that we will delete this row here, and of course, retry to insert this operation. So we will simply go to our application and yeah, restart it. Try to insert this again. So hopefully we won't get this error this time. So this do happen that we may have to go and check what operation has happened in our database. So you can see, let's check that here as well. So the last record we have is obviously Lisa Ray, and then we're gonna click on add staff and add this new record. Hopefully we'll get a success this time. So as we click on so we have getting the message new staff added. Okay, if we go back, obviously we will see that there's a new user which has been added, and that is this Linda Armstrong. We can go and check our database server also. Obviously here we need to refresh or rather reopen our table in data view. So once we do that, and we see that a new record has been inserted. Obviously this is 236 Linda Armstrong sales admin, and the password and all that information is there. So this is the insert that we have successfully achieved. Now we will be programming our update button. Okay, the next stage that we have now is to update the staff details. So we have a button here which we will be using to make sure that the update happens. It's always useful to add some comments. So we know this code is basically for what purpose. So we would say update, changes made to any record. So the changes would be obviously made to any current record that we have. So we obviously have to be aware that the changes will be only made to the current record. Now the code that you need to put in there is you have to use a validate method. This validate method basically validates the current status of the data set. So it validates that the data set is being changed. Next thing that it does is basically we have to use the binding source dot end edit. We have used that earlier as well. So that means we have to tell the binding source or rather tell the our ADO objects that the editing is now completed or over, and now we can commit the changes into the database. So for that purpose we have to use end edit. And after that, we have to use our uh, table adapter, which is a staff table adapter uh, dot update method. And in this update method, we have to supply the parameter dataset parameter. So we have Kumar dataset. This is the dataset name that you will be updating in the system. So, and yes, you have to specify the table name as well. So the table staff table has to be updated, and then just a message box to confirm that the update has been done, or you can call it as staff details updated. So this is the code that we have here for the update method, update function. So we're going to save that and execute this. Let's hope this works for us. So let's begin. Okay, so here we have all our records of our staff. We will try and update. Okay, of course, we can update any of the staff details here, except staff ID, because the staff ID is obviously a field that you cannot update. Uh, it's a primary key field, so be aware of that. You can actually render it as non-readable as well, uh, and that's one way of preventing any update here. But if uh, you are inserting a new staff, then you have to activate this again, so you can enter a staff ID again. So you can obviously control the insertion and control the state of this particular staff ID field if you want to. Here we would just simply change the password here. So this password can be updated. So we are just updating the password and click on update staff. Uh, of course, we can change other details as well. Staff details updated. So if you want to go and check this uh, in our database, we can uh, check that. So we're going to go to the staff table and check whether the details have been updated or not. So we do see that the last record here and the password has been changed. So we just change the password as Linda123, and that's what this is showing up. Sometimes you might see that your records in the table do show, because this record comes from your data set, but it may not be committed to your database because of some SQL exception error that may have happened. Say for example, you didn't supply the enough parameter, you didn't give the object name correctly, or dataset name was not specified correctly, whatever the case could be. So it will still show that the values are here. It might show you the updated values here or the updated records here, but it may not be committed to the database. So you may have to check that as well, by going to the database itself. Once you have got it right, then obviously you don't have to go to the database to show every time that you have updated the details, because once you have created the interface that works, then obviously it will work for you. All you have to do is probably try and prevent any kind of those insertion errors, as I mentioned about staff ID, because this is a primary key field. You cannot change it. You cannot update this staff ID. So you can render it as non-editable, or make it just readable, and only when you click on add staff, then it can become editable. That means obviously now you can add a new staff ID. Otherwise you can simply make it readable only. We will also look at that, that kind of possibility in another form that we create just now. So this is a simple interface to view the data, to update our records in our database, to add new records to our database. The same code can be applied to uh, other different tables as well, where you can create different other records, and that is what we will now look at. Probably just to save time, I will simply demonstrate another form to you which will use the same functionality, just some improvements in the interface, um, just to show you that what we can do. So we're going to use the other example here, and then that would be this manage stock form that we have created here. Here, you would see that obviously it's this a form that is to manage the stock of the books. So the same functionality that you have created previously, but here we can of course try and see what improvements can we do over here. The interface is quite similar. You have a form to display different books, and then you have uh, eventually buttons here to add a new book details, and you have also an update button to update any existing record if you want to. So rest everything remains same. The only option that I've done here is this interesting improvement that I've done here is edit. So let's try this. Let's execute this, and we will look at what we have done here. I will try and explain things here. So as obviously the user logs in, uh, in this version we have few more options. I think probably I'll also show you one more font creation, like probably search option can be I will demonstrate search for you. We will just do that. The other thing that we are doing here is simply manage stock. And here we have created, obviously, just to demonstrate that we can create separate functionalities here to add new stock or update stock, or we can use the same. I'd rather use the same form in this example, just to save some time and effort that we have here. Of course, we can hide this form here, the main screen form, if we want to, and this is just to demonstrate that we are into a MDI interface, where you see that you can obviously switch between these forms in an MDI environment, as you can see. So we have these two separate forms which are active at the same time. So here we will be demonstrating what we can do. Of course, you can even close this form if you want to, and then reopen it again if you would like to. So this is a managed stock form that we have here. One thing I've done here is I've made this non-editable. So simply the edit is by default off. So we have created a radio button here to enable editing and to disable editing. So in first cases, if I try to change any values here, as you can see, uh, uh, I won't be able to, because editable option or editable property of this is uh, false. It is set to false, and this can be toggled to make it editable, or to make it non-editable. So one of the thing is, if I want to like change the price of the stock, of course I can move between the records here. Say for example, this is a book here, uh, and I want to change or update the quantity or update the price of this. I can click on editing on, and after that I'll probably change the quantity to, like, I got a new stock, so now I've got a stock of 200. Plus, I'm also probably willing to change the price. So the price is 150. As you can see here, whenever you would display, you know, uh, like a value, a decimal value into any text box, you will probably see that this will have an extended number of zeros in decimal places. It will show you four zeros. If I'm not wrong there. It will show you four zeros, which obviously doesn't look good in terms of displaying any price tag. So here we will also look at to apply a sort of a formatting for displaying the price or any numerical value or any decimal value rather. So we will also look at that. So what we have done here is obviously we have changed the price, or we'll rather change it to from 150 to we'll change it to like 180, and we have changed the quantity from whatever it was to 200. So here we will obviously we can see we can do editing now because we have enabled the editing to be on. So it's a good measure, it's a good interface design where you lock the editing so nobody accidentally changes the value for you, and only when you are very determined and you are very clear that you want to update some value, then you can go and make the editing on, and then you have the chance to update the value. So we will simply update the records. It says book details updated. We will go and look into this book database to verify whether the changes have been made, although we will see that yeah, the changes are shown here as you can see, uh, but sometimes it may show here, but when we probably go to the database, it may not be committed into the database. So we will go and check that as well. So here we do see that yes, the price is showing as 180 and the quantity is showing as 200. Let's go to our database and also check this. So we will look at the books table and see if the value has been updated. So this is the last item book that we have. You can see that the price is updated. That is the value. You will see that it will show up in your field as well. When you create this interface field, it will show the value as four decimal places. It is a default setting in your SQL Server, but that is why you can control that in your interface design. In your interface design, you can specify the format, and that is what you should do when you are displaying any figures or any decimal values like price in this case. You can see that the quantity has been updated. So obviously it was 150 and then we changed it to 200. So we can make the changes. Of course we can update the things. The only thing we don't want to change is the book ID, because book ID here is a incremental field that we have created. So whenever we insert a new book, automatically a book ID will be generated for us as a primary key field. So we will see that happening just now also in our system. So now we're going to click on add new book. So again, when we're going to click on add new book, we will see that there's a new record which has been, there's a new data row which has been created, and that is why we see the form is blank now. So we will put a book title here. Probably the book title is Rich Dad Poor Dad. Genre is motivational. Here also we can have like a drop down box to quantify or to list down our genre that we have in the books. We're going to enter the Robert name, this is the name of the author. So it's quite a famous book, and the publisher here for this book probably is I'm not sure about that. I'll just enter anything. And edition, we can say it's a 2010 edition. ISBN, now here this ISBN number, I've entered an input mask for it. So what you can do is I'll probably show you, you can obviously use the input mask text box. Input mask text box allows you to define the input mask for your, specific values. Like if you have a fixed digit, like ID, or if you have like a South African ID, that the field you are using to validate a particular user, or any specific field that contains defined set of values or a specific format, you can use it. You can use it for phone numbers because they have a specific length. You can use it for, as I said, ID numbers. Books also has a ISBN number, which is normally a 11 digit number, or a 9, I think it's 11 digit number. So we are using that, sort of, you know uh, text box here, sorry, marks text box here, to control that. So obviously it will now take a fixed digit ISBN number. So these things you can do. You can also specify a specific format for price entry, although I've left it a little bit open. So this book is, say for example, costing 140 rands. uh, I have applied formatting here, uh, and the quantity that I have for that is, say for example, let's say 90. So we have added a new book, and we're going to click on, I have also used tooltip here, and that is what you should also try and use. So tooltip helps you to, it provides a context help for you to, in the sense that when you are pointing to a particular option, like a particular control, it tells you click this button, to add new book to stock, enter book details, and click, the save icon. As I can show you this. So this tooltip you can also add to, make sure that yes, your user is aware of, and is basically well informed what action is being performed here, and it guides the user to do the right thing. So we have a new book added. Of course, we've added this one here. If we go back, by default, I have disabled this book ID field, so you don't accidentally, enter a book ID here, because this is an auto-generated field in this case. It does happen that, auto-generated field here shows a -1 value, but you can also handle this. You can try and assign a null value here, or like a blank string value here initially, as you click on new, add new book, because this doesn't look very pleasing to see a -1 value. But the fact here is that yes, because this is a non-editable field at this point of time, you won't be able to enter any book ID here. But if you go back and look at the book details, so we had the last book ID, which was 8. We had this. Now we have a new book ID. Okay, there is still some. Uh, I think we still have to sort out something here. Looks like, I'm not sure whether it is picking up, incorrectly from here, because earlier I did see it was working absolutely fine. Uh, I did test this interface, but we will see just now why, probably we had this error that happens. Uh, let's try and go to our database and see also what do we have in our database in terms of books. So yeah, so it looks like this is just a refresh error that we have here. So the book ID and all of that is showing, book ID is showing correctly as 9. Uh, let's probably rerun this form, and hopefully then we can, or you can refresh the form itself. You can reload the form as well. That is one way of, trying to confirm that the details have been correctly uh, made available to you. So yes, here, if we look at all the available stock that we have, we would see that yes, the new book has been entered here, Rich Dad Poor Dad, and the book ID is 9. So this is working fine. Obviously, when we load the form, the editing will be off here, so you won't be able to change anything, anything. But if you decide to change, if the manager basically decides to update the stock or change the price, then the manager should be able to make the editing on, and then eventually, update the stock levels as he pleases or she pleases. So we're gonna change the quantity here, probably also update the price to 150 and click on update records. So book details have been updated, and if we go and check again, we will see that uh, our book stock has been updated, where we have this rich dad poor dad over here, and the quantity now is 100, and the price is 150. So this is how the interface would work. I will just focus on specifically those features of this form where we need to make some changes. So rest of the coding about like showing details, showing previous records and showing the next records is basically following the same code that we have used in the previous form. The only difference here is this one functionality that we have implemented. As you can see here, we have put up a group box, and then we have put up a set of radio buttons here, on and off. You can use other controls also if you like, but this works obviously well in this case. So here by default, this radio button here has been set to, uh, selection has been set to uh, uh, where we have this property, which is a selected property, I think, has been set to true. So checked, yeah. The checked property has been set to true. You can set it to true and false. So once you have set to true, by default, this will be selected. The next thing that we have on this, obviously on this radio button here, is a check changed property. And in check changed property, what we have done is we have made all the text boxes here as read only. So read only property has been set to true. So that makes sure that we don't make any accidental changes. While as the radio button 2, uh, in the manage stock, as you can see here, uh, the is a on radio button which has a label as on. So this radio button 2 obviously toggles the text only property. So the text box one read only property is still true because we don't want any accidental entry into the book ID. Book ID obviously has to be automatically generated. So we make it as read only. That is to prevent any accidental changes there. And then other text boxes read only property has been set to false, which means now you can do editing of those radio buttons. So rest everything is still the same. As I explained to you earlier, we have created a binding source, as you can see right here, and we also have created other things. So one thing, we added a tooltip object here. So in tooltip object, once you add a tooltip object from your toolbox, it is going to be right there. Uh, Here you have a tooltip. So you just drag and drop it into the context. It will show up in context tray automatically when you drag and drop it on the form. We have already got a tooltip object here. So this tooltip object here allows you to add tooltips for specific controls. Like here, add new book. So I've got a tooltip here for add new book, and this is the tooltip that will be shown when you have a mouse over, which shows click this button to add new book to stock, enter book details, and click on save icon. Again, I have a tooltip here for this save icon, which says Let's check that. Uh, it says click to save new book details. So this is simply a good interface feature to help the user to understand what which button or which icon or whatever you are using on your screen does for you. So that's basically it. That were a few interface improvements that I wanted to demonstrate to you. And in order to save time, rather than creating the whole form, from scratch, which obviously takes a lot of time, I rather wanted to display an existing one. But you can obviously follow the same steps that we have demonstrated in the previous one. So now let's look at some search functionality. So we will be using a search feature here, just to search some records. So let's focus on that now. Okay, to create a search interface, uh, basically we are again adding a new form, and we simply would call it as search cust. To just quickly, you know, put something there, I would simply say whenever you have a lot of customers and you also have a lot of products in your system, or probably you are searching orders, whatever the case could be, it is always to have a search interface because you can't display everything in a grid, and if you don't have a search feature, then it will be difficult for you to find the right records. So for that, we will be creating a search interface. In this case, we will be uh, putting a label. Of course, the label is to say search customers using last name or uh, phone number. So we will be using a text box to search for that. One thing I think I probably missed in the previous application example that I was showing, and I just recalled it now here, is to show you something on that manage stocks things, to change the format. So here on the price, as I mentioned to you, on the price, we can go to the uh, you know while we are you know doing the data binding there. So in the data binding, we can go to the advanced, and I showed that earlier as well. We can specify the format here. So we are binding this to obviously uh, you know price price field. But what I would suggest you to do is also apply a formatting. So specify the format as numeric, specify the decimal places as true value, and that should be good enough to give you the right kind of formatting that you need. You can also use currency, but with the currency, the problem is if you have set it up to uh, US settings, it will show you a dollar sign. You don't want that. Uh, and if you have set it to rand, the problem will be that it will display the, if I want to show you that, if you even go and change your regional settings to rand, you can of course do that. You can obviously go and change the regional settings to South African settings. So you have you go to the control panel, and in the control panel you go to, I think you can even change, yeah, the clock and region. This is the setting that you go and change there. So region, if you change the region settings to from US to South Africa, I think I'll get South African settings somewhere. Uh, in South Africa, you do have a few options. Southern Bay, that's one here. You do get South Africa straight away as well. Uh, different formats. So it's I think it's only this option that I see here. I think there was let's try this one here. Southern Bay. There was option of South African settings. I think. Uh, let's see. This is what is showing up here there for me. So let's see what shows up here now in the system. Okay, it has not been probably updated yet, unless you go and change the bindings, the binding settings. It is still showing me the South African one, but I believe it may still show me. But let's see if it shows different settings here while I execute this. So I've changed the settings, but the problem with that would happen is basically going to be the fact that sorry, that it will show the South African format as let's click on manage stock. Yeah, now it will show you rand, as you can see right over here. It is showing you rand. Obviously it has picked up the settings. The problem here is this comma. It is showing the separator of your decimal as comma. Now this is going to be a problem for you if you try to insert any values. Now let's try this. You will see that it will show you an error, and that is why I rather ask you to change and keep your any figures or any decimal values to simply as numeric. And of course then you can add a label here as a South African rand, which is ZAR symbol, as a label. So let's try that. We got here. Let's click on editing on, and let's try and update the records here. So this here, obviously, let's go to the last one we had. Let's make this as rand 160. That's what we're planning to do, and click on update records. Let's see. It says record has been updated. Let's see if that works for us. Sometimes it may, and sometimes it may throw errors. Let's hope this works for us. So in this case, let's remove that, and then let's open a books table once again. Okay, well, this seems to be working fine in this case, so you can probably get this. The problem I think it gives you is when you are actually writing a proper insert code. Let's see that. Yeah, yeah. Or maybe you're trying to insert a value. So update is working for us. Let's try look for an insert now. So for the insert, probably I'll say simply say click edit it on. Right, the book is add new book, and here I'm saying the book title is just it's always uh, difficult to probably let's say yeah intro to Python programming. Let's say the genre is programming, or we can call it as IT, information technology. Author name is I can have no specific idea. Let's say author name is I'm struggling to remember um, some author name here. Publish edition 2025. I will just put a number, typing anything. The price here is going to be 180. Yes, 180 rands, of course, and the quantity, say for example, is going to be 70. Let's click on add. No new. That is where we are getting this error. See, you know, here we are getting an error, and the error is basically coming because of this format of rand and a comma, because now this comma is being treated by your SQL parser like a separate field. So it's being like you are inserting two values. You are inserting like 180, and you are also trying to insert like a 00, these two values. So that is the problem that comes up in the insert. Update works fine for you. We've tested that and we have seen that, but the insert will give you a trouble. So this is the problem that you might face. So the best thing that you do here, obviously, as I recommended earlier also, is to simply, uh, simply, here also we have a menu option which is being, because I was demonstrating and I added a new option here. So you can see that this option here is being disabled because probably it's not in the list. So I'll simply close this application. We can fix that, of course, but it'll take some time. So the best thing we would do now is simply, go into a existing form, and here just change the data binding settings from currency to numeric. Two places, say OK, and here we can specify specifically that price is in it's basically we can specify a label here to say that the price is basically in uh, you know is in the price is basically in ZAR. So we can put it here or we can put it here. I mean that's up to us to kind of give it a little different alignment. Yeah, I can even reduce the size of this. Try and put it here to show the value showing up in currencies are, and then obviously try and run it again and try to see if it works for us. And in stock, so as you can see here, we've got a ZAR. We can obviously resize it and make it a little bit more aligned up and look properly and look nice. But the main point here is what we are trying to do is to obviously show that we are trying to insert a new book here. Book title is Programming in Python of what is happening here. Okay, we didn't enable the editing, so that's the reason I'm typing and nothing is coming up. Programming in Python. Chandra is programming or IT. Author is uh, publisher is Wiley. Publisher is ISBN number is whatever you can put in there. And here we are putting obviously the price 180. This is in rand. So now you can see we have just used a simple numeric format with two decimal places, and we put up a label here in ZAR to say that this is in South African rand, or you can put a R rand label there as you please. And here we obviously are specifying the quantity, and we're going to click on save. So we see the new book has been added, so we don't get that error, which we had earlier. And the reason of that error was because we set it up as currency. When we set it up as a currency, one thing obviously is going to show you is your dollar. If it is set to South African, set to US settings. uh, but if you change it to South African settings, as I just demonstrated to you now, the problem is this separator here becomes a comma, then a full stop. And when obviously this becomes a comma, obviously your MS a SQL server has not been designed to handle that format. Obviously, it could be because it was created by Microsoft, Bill Gates, and then they preferred the US formats. But whatever the reason is, this is a fact that you have to either look for some more configuration settings in your SQL server, or you can simply adapt or rather improvise by using numeric formatting here for the any figures, any financial data that you want to display in your form. So that is basically something I wanted to demonstrate because I forgot to mention it when I was talking about this form itself. So yeah, so this is I'm sure maybe check in our database also we're going to see that this is working for us. uh, So earlier, as we did see that we had an error there, exception was thrown, which simply said that there is some inconsistency in the data. But here we do see that programming in Python is there by Dr. Brown, and this is the quantity and this is the price. So that was just to demonstrate this. Yes, we were working on our interface there in the example I was demonstrating for the search field. So we'll get back to that. So we have this label here, and then we're gonna put just a text box here, to display. This is for the search field, and then we will be putting up a grid control here. So data grid control. So this obviously can be found under data grid view. This is going basically what we are trying to put in there. So data grid view we are using to display. Data grid view also allows you to do editing, adding the values and all of that, but it's not a very preferred interface, or it shouldn't be used for any data entries, because it is prone to errors, and it is also not a very standard feature to do editing in a grid. So don't use a grid. A grid is very good for viewing, or rather searching for some details, or rather viewing the data that is to be searched, as we will see just now. Yes, this grid can be bound to a control. So we can have data binding here. Again, we have to obviously use our, our binding source. So we can put a binding source, and then in the binding source, we can of course bind this to, a data source. Similarly, I'll use the a data source, the command D data set first, and then use a data member uh, to look for, the table that we are trying to use. I think I haven't specified a data member here yet. Okay, this data source obviously uh, only has one commodity data set only has one table here. Either we can add more tables to it. So just go to edit dataset designer, and you can add tables here. So you can add data tables here. We only have staff table. You can add, a table adapter or a data table, and you can even, add more data tables directly here by simply dragging and dropping some more tables. So commodity dataset is over here. Maybe we can add another table to it. So this data table itself is like a virtual table. So that is one thing. But of course, if we try and either we can add another data set here, which contains multiple data tables, or we can simply uh, you know edit the existing data set that we have right now. So we can do that. Here we have just done this work with one data set only, which has only one table. But we can of course go to Explorer and add more data tables to it. So here we have our tables, and I would like to add a customer table to it. So we go to customer table. I can also add, I can create a new data set as well. Let's hope we don't get any trouble with this. So I'm just adding a customer data table for the time being. Of course, we can add more data tables just by dragging and dropping them. And we can also create some joins if we want to. So let's see if we get a job done with this uh, data table. So let us check that. Okay, we're going to stop this here. So we are creating a data grid view. We are trying to bind this to uh, the table that we have. Just a second. Let's see if we have that. Okay, still we only have stuff. Just one, just 1 second. Uh, first, let's try and look at the data set again. Okay, this is the binding source we have here. Uh, in the data members, we still haven't probably got the. Let's try and add a new binding source. Let's see if we can do that. Let's get this off. Let's see if we are able to get. Yeah, we are able to get the customer here now. We're getting a new set of object. So we got customer here, binding source customer, and then of course this is what we are looking here to get this. Now what we are doing here is we are trying to bind this to this data source. So we have the binding source right over here, and you can see when we have the customer table in the binding source, the customer data and the fields are being displayed here. When we run this, we simply have to create another menu option, I think, just to execute this. So we probably have to go to form one and add a new option here. This is going to be search customer. Search customer. Uh, this is going to be a menu item which we are trying to now move here. This is going to be 0, 1, 2, 3, third in the array that we have right here. So let's see if we still have to uh, change our code while we are into this, and that obviously will happen at the login form. So in the login form menu option, we have to update our array item. So as you can see right over here, we have menu strip, which we have to make sure that it is enabled for this user. So we have another menu item. That is why we have to update our list of menu item as well here. So we have a menu strip item 4 in this login form where we have to make it active, and then after that we have to go back to our form 1 and click on search customer, and then update you know our list here. Search cust s1 is equal to new search customer, and then uh, you know s1 dot mdi parent. Now this is we are writing in form 1, of course. So mdi parent will be itself, so it will be s1 dot mdi parent is equal to this. Be careful about that. If you are using the same code or similar code to launch a form in the probably another form which is a child form, like a manager's console, like we had those buttons we created in the manager's console, then you have to use s1.mdi parent is equal to form1.active form as the code. I showed you that earlier as well. So if we say, for example, are in this form here where we have the manage stock, manage staff, whatever. So we see is going to be a form1.active form. That is the code we have to have there. So here simply we are using the menu from the main form, so which is your MDI parent form. So that is why we are using the object name dot MDI parent is equal to this, and we're going to say s1 dot show. So that is what we have here. Let's execute it. So simply we added a new search customer. Obviously this has to be disabled as well. We have to update our code here. We simply would be just willing to demonstrate this at the moment. So as we click on search customer, we're going to see that we are getting this search form here with the grid. The grid has details coming from the customer database, customer table, cust ID, customer first name, last name, date of birth, customer phone, customer email ID, city, and customer address. So we are having a few of the details, as you can see over here. The problem here is, this grid will not be associated with our code. So it will display all the list of customers. Now, say for example, here we only have few customers, but imagine if you have your keep on entering new customer details into the system, and now you have hundreds of customers in your database. It will be very uncomfortable for you to look for the right customer that you want. So that is why you need a search feature, and that is why we have to develop this interface for search. The code for this is going to be simple. What you need to do here is in the interface that we are developing, we have to search customer. We have to on text change property, we have to use binding source dot filter code. So what we will do is simply we will double click on this text box 1. Obviously this is the only text box we have here. Just double click this. It will create an event procedure for you for text box 1 dot text change property. And here in this text change property, we will be using binding source dot filter method. So binding source dot filter method will be used in order to filter the data that we have here. So I'm just saying use filter form. So that is what we have to use here. We have to use binding source dot filter property. So here the property that we'll be using is binding source 1 dot filter. Now to make it work properly, we would be using a remove filter function first. Why is it? Because otherwise what you will see that a particular filter will stick to it. So if you have done filtering once, that filter will just remain, and then it won't revert back to the original sort of data that you want. So remove filter will actually remove the existing filter and then create a new filter for you. And then the next command that you need is basically binding source dot filter is equal to, and then here you will specify the filter as the filter will be like the filter will be you have to create a concatenated string which may look a little complex to you. So it will be basically the customer last name. I think I'm not sure about exact name of this customer. I have to look into my customer table for that, just to see what do we have here as the list of values that we have. Of course, it is customer L name. That's what we have, cust underscore L name. So we will be using cust underscore L and L name. Like, that's the keyword we are using, and then we are using a wildcard, a search character, which is specified by a @sign, and then using a plus concatenation operator to specify our name of text box 1 dot text property, uh, and then again a plus sign, and then again we will be having the quotes. In the quotes we will be again putting a asterisk character and a single quote, and then closing the string here. So this is a single filter that we have applied. So it will only work for the search for the last name. So let's test this, and then probably we can add another parameter of search to this. Let's see if this is working for us. So obviously here we log in, and after that we click on search customer. Now search customer, obviously, or edit customer, you can choose whether you have to have that as a common available interface to all the users, or you can specifically, I think this is something which is needed for even the admin people. as well as the managers can look at it. So here when we are putting up search, so you can imagine, you can see that as we start putting up any value that is let's say R, you can see it is picking up and is filtering the records for us. So as you keep on adding, you will see it will further filter the records for you. So now you are getting a particular specific record which is matching your last name. Of course, if you try and remove the filter, you will see that the records are coming up. Now this works very nicely. I don't have any customer which basically have a duplicate name, but you can see it can filter that very precisely for you. So that is basically how this filter works. It works quite a magic. So as you can see, I'm putting up details. As I'm putting details, it will specifically filter out the records. So a good interface design could be when you are filtering the record of the customer, select a specific customer out of the hundreds of the customers in from the list, and from there you can move forward by selecting a particular customer and then choosing to capture order details for that customer. So the first step would be, if you want to process orders, to actually check whether the customer exists in your system or not. If the customer is existing in the system, you would search the customer, select the customer details. You can select it from the grid, and then you from there you can have some buttons here to say capture a new order for this customer, or view existing orders from this customer, whatever the case could be. So you can do that. As I said earlier, this only works on one filter, but if we want to use another filter here, what we need to do, of course, is we can extend this query further here to say or, and then specify another set of you know another set of codes, or we can say or a phone number. Now I have to again figure out what is the field, cust phone, that is the field here, or cust underscore cust phone, again a keyword of like, and again I have to specify you know how this would be with a a bit more concatenation that is needed here. Again, this will again be text box or text property that we need here. Sorry, text box one dot text property, and uh, put more concatenations that we need. For some reason, I haven't got this correctly here. Text box one dot text. The more IntelliSense menu you would use, you would rather be better off for not creating. Now here you have to be careful, because this is the search field that you are having. This has to be enclosed between two percentile signs for a wildcard search, and then this obviously comes in a single quote. So a single quote will open, then you'll have the percentile sign. Then after that, you have to specify the name of the particular variable or the control that contains the value, your search value. And then again, you have to follow the same closing sequence, that a percentile sign will come first, then a quote, a closing quote, ending quote will be there. And this is going to be obviously again like a string concatenation, and that is why you have to keep that in double quotes, like it opened up in double quotes for you right over here. And that is how you have to use this string concatenation. Probably you have to practice it a little bit, and once you get it right, then you can simply use the same method of string concatenation everywhere. So once we have done this, obviously I hope I haven't made any errors knowingly here. Unintentionally, I don't know. So let's test this, if this works for you. So we are looking at search customer. As you can see now, yes, we can of course specify the size of this box. Even the grid size has to be enlarged so it can display the data correctly. The thing I want to display is that before we had first name last name as a search as we were using, like here in this case. But now we can use even the phone number. So you can see that as I would put 09, my data is again getting filtered. So I'm getting, all the phone numbers starting with 09. And as I entered 096, it filters out only the specific customer for me, which is Zama Khumalo in this case. And that search obviously works, like a magic for you. And it's very user friendly to search data. And once you have find the right customer, you can select. And then from there, you can start another process of like capturing order for this customer or viewing the orders, existing orders of this customer, like order history of this customer or whatever you would like, you would prefer to do. So this is something, which is for the search field as such. So I think for this session, this is what I wanted to demonstrate. Of course, this can be further taken, to putting up search based on orders, other attributes of the orders like searching orders in a specific date range and so forth, which I will cover up in the next session. So thanks very much for watching this. I hope you can use many of these features to design an interface that is consistent and useful and also compelling for your clients. To give you a thumbs up to create a system which eventually would be user friendly and effective in terms of user interface design and functionality as well. So, on that note, thank you very much. This is Dr. Kumar signing off for you now. Take care. Bye bye.